So next we're going to hear from Michael McCormack about Live Aurora Network.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
I'm excited.
Okay.
All
right.
Are you going to start that, Laura, or do I?
I will do it, but I'm going to make sure right now that video optimization is off, because that I think was what our problem was last time.
And I have the PDF link in the chat now too, so everyone should
Thank you.
Grab that.
Perfect. All right.
All right. So I'm going to let myself do the talking to start, which is on the video.
There we go.
Hello, I'm Michael McCormack, owner of IP Time-Lapse Software. Our poster is Live Aurora Network. Live Aurora Network is the brainchild of Steve and Tony Collins. Steve and Tony wanted a better way to be alerted to the presence of Aurora, and they weren't satisfied with the apps currently available, and they decided to build their own network and Aurora detection system. Tony and Steve contacted me with the idea of building a camera system using the Sony AS7i camera, and I agreed to that. I have experience in building camera systems using the Canon camera, and with those systems, the exposure is from 20 to 30 seconds, and the advantage of using the Sony camera is Sony has the sensitivity to image the night sky at video frame rates, 1/30th of a second. If you refer to our poster at the top center, our solution was to use the Sony A7i camera. Computer was an Intel NUC computer, solid state, small size, easy to fit into an enclosure. The control software is IP Time-Lapse detection algorithm developed by IP Time-Lapse. And our power options were and are 12-volt DC, PoE, power over Ethernet, or 120 or 240 volts AC. Our implementation, the hardware in the center of the poster, you can see two photographs showing the system with the camera installed on the left and 6 units on the bench being constructed. Our software does the video streaming, Aurora detection, and time-lapse video, and a live stream is sent to an RTMP video server, which can be YouTube or any other server accepting RTMP, and that can be delivered to our app. And detections are also monitored and distributed to any user using the app. Our next block is down in the bottom center, deployment. So we've deployed 7 cameras. We have 1 camera in Norway, 5 in Iceland, and 1 in Alaska. And we'd like to and plan to install more cameras to have more coverage around that oval. Probably Greenland and Northern Canada could be next on the list. On the left side under deployment, you'll see one of the images from our Kirkjufell, Iceland, which is a beautiful spot on Iceland. And beneath that is our trip to Lofoten, Norway at the Arctic Circle, where we successfully installed our first Norway camera. Referring to the top right of the poster is our a short description of our Aurora detection algorithm. The top image shows a faint Aurora glow. In the processing, we segment the colors using an hue saturation light map, and we threshold those parameters. We use those as features. We also look at the area of those color regions and make a decision as whether there's aurora or not and its intensity. Bottom right, going forward, we plan to install new cameras and fill gaps in the coverage of the Northern Hemisphere. We definitely like to improve our detection algorithm. It's quite good for a simple thresholding method, but we need to create a performance baseline and develop a probability of detection, probability of false alarm, receiver operating characteristic curve. And to do that, we'll define additional Aurora features, and with those features and a training set, which we have an ample training set because we're collecting images continually from these cameras, we'll implement a naive Bayes classifier. Other ideas we have is a 3D stereoscopic view of Aurora, where we could place cameras, say, some kilometers apart, 10 kilometers perhaps, and if we can register and time register the live video, we could have quite interesting VR viewing. And we'd like to collaborate with the science community and Aurora Soros going forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Are
You're
there
welcome.
any, I used Live Aurora Network when I visited Iceland last year. It was really, really cool. Does anybody have any questions for Michael?
I do.
Oh, yes, please.
Hi, Michael. One of the big questions I have is, do you have a deployment plan? I don't have my camera on today. I apologize. I have my camera on. I have low bandwidth right now. So.
I hear you.
Good. Do you have a deployment plan for or a priority list for where you'd like to deploy cameras next? Because I know you also have them in, I'm probably going to butcher the name, Lofoten, right, in Norway.
Yeah, I think it's called Lofoten.
Lofoten, thank you.
Yeah, our next camera is planned for Northern Iceland. There's a photographer up there that's offered a place for installing the camera, and so we need a place that has Aurora, is a good place for Aurora, and also someone willing to offer a place to mount it and with internet and power. And so that's kind of the first place we're looking for. And then, of course, we like to fill in some gaps in coverage around the Aurora circle. So those would be the priorities, what we can do, and then what we'd really like to do.
Do you need to have a larger network of potential sites? Because we could be, I can definitely assist in that regard. There are so many Aurora tourists, tourism platforms and people that reach out to me all the time about that kind of thing. And I'm sure Liz has a whole host of people as well.
Yes. Yeah, I think
help you build your network. Like,
yeah, I think we're already talking to Liz through Steve Collins, who is the owner of Live Aurora Network. And I've been kind of in the background building the cameras and doing the software and development. So, but there are, lodges and places such as that would really like to promote their locations. And so, those are very good, often prime spots to locate a camera, because you have very willing.
Southern Hemisphere? What about?
And I've looked at the map. Tierra del Fuego. I mean, actually, I sell my software. It's called IP Timelapse online, and someone down there near the tip of South America is using it to monitor a construction project. And so I basically have contact. I haven't used it, but I think potential.
there's a lot of people in New Zealand, a lot of people in
Yes.
Australia and Victoria that we could connect you with. There are a lot of people in Tasmania. I mean, there are a ton of Aurora, and these are a lot of these people are either professors or they're amateurs, but they've been chasing it for their lifetime and live down
It's
there.
very exciting because there's a lot of opportunities, and we meet a lot of smart people, and so I'm very humbled to be in this situation to tell you what we're doing, and we have something to offer because we can usually work with that Sony camera, but also have a software application that works directly with the Canon DSLR. So we'll control it and automatically make time lapse and automatically do the uploads, operate sunset to sunrise and things like that, and store the images. So you basically unlimited storage because you can just add a 4 terabyte hard drive and record images for a year or two.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Michael. I'm gonna ask Matt Hevner to ask his question. If you can, Matt, maybe you can. Oh, no mic. Okay. I'm gonna ask Matt's question for him and also give you a compliment that I think you've built a really, really effective empirical alert system that works super well, and it's great. Matt asks, have you looked into leveraging other camera networks? For example, I have a Bolide all-sky camera, Meteor all-sky camera. I've wondered about a video splitter or even having software monitor for both Aurora and transients being meteors. Yeah.
Oh, that's a
And you have
possibility.
about 2-3 minutes left.
Yeah, that's certainly a possibility. Right now we're focusing on the live streaming through the app, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't add some, or maybe that is live streaming. I'm not familiar with that camera, but on the app and on the web page, I think it'd be great to add snapshots and current pictures, from everywhere that we can find. But you have to show it in a nice way that's comprehensible to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and currently the app is free. Is that right?
Yes, it is now free. So
You guys have
it's ad supported. So I guess you have to put up with that. But yeah, it's still kind of under development because it only became free just recently. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, and also I do want to say that I think the data are scientifically useful in that, figuring out how to collaborate in that way hasn't been easy. So if people have suggestions for that, for this new kind of thing, where those data could be used scientifically, and how to build that into some of their work, I'm sure you guys would be interested in talking about that.
Sure.
Could you say something more about the lens configuration? There was a question earlier.
Oh, the lens is, I believe we're using f 1.4 and 22 millimeters, and but it can. I think in Alaska it might be not quite as sensitive a lens, but we'll be upgrading that one. So that's the lens. So.
Perfect. And I just have a question for everybody else. Was Michael's video quality better this time?
Much better.
Much better. Okay. So that was the optimizing. I took that off. So, all right. Thank you so much, Michael. We're now going to hear